Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Consciousness with your luscious hostess, May Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time.
Hello, everyone. This is May Vu. I'm so excited to be here today. I have a really interesting guest and a really interesting topic for you. It's called sex toys and technology. When this subject came to me, my eyes just lit up because I'm like, oh my God, right? Yeah, isn't it time that the sex toys get smarter and more interesting and more user-friendly? And, you know, I just think there's so much improvement that could be had in the arena of sex toys. And to add technology and making it smarter and allowing us to be much more creative with our sex play and pleasure zone. It's just so, like, of course, let's talk to him, you know. So I have with me today John Thomas from Mina Life. They are a company that creates this new, sexy, feel-good vibrator that I just love. So I'm going to bring him on in a second, and let's see, what else can we talk about? I wanted to tell you about the other stuff that Sex, Lies, and Consciousness, what we've been doing in the background. Last Friday, I had a showing, a panel. I was on a panel at Feel More 510 in Oakland with Ariel Lauren, the founder and chief editor of Corset Magazine, an online sexy, beautiful, sensual magazine of all things sex-related. Really beautiful. I just got a free copy yesterday, and I looked at the magazine, and I just love it. So if you have not heard of Corset Magazine, I think you really should check them out. They're online. You can find them on Facebook, and the magazine is intelligently written, covers all sorts of aspects around sexuality that is so beautiful. So anyway, Ariel is a master at words and visual and display, so I thoroughly enjoy meeting her in person and hanging out with her and talking about sex to a room full of people in Oakland. It was great. And my guest, John Thomas, was there too, sharing with them about his new product. So John, come on in, honey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Tell them a little bit about yourself, you know, like your age, marital status, or whatever, something personal so people can get a sense of who you are, and then we'll just dive into the topic.
Sure. Let's see, a little bit about me. I'm 30 years old right now, and live in San Francisco with my wife, and I've been doing engineering and product development for a long time. I guess not that long, because I'm only 30, but since as long as I can remember. And yeah, I mean, we really are passionate about bringing innovation and really changing the paradigm of products in kind of in the sex space, being able to deliver more personalized pleasure to people.
Like, did you? You said you've been in engineering and product development all your life for a long time, and so I had to ask, like, have you always dreamt about being in the sex industry all your life for a long time?
Not really. It's funny. I mean, it's one of the it's obviously a really big industry in a really important area, but I think for many reasons it's not really at the top of most people's list of things that they think about doing or areas they think about working when they get older.
Right.
They kind of.
Yeah, it's not an area that we're proud of or that we go around bragging about. Not yet. I think it's changing.
Right.
Right? It usually is like, oh, sex toys, that's disgusting, dirty, under the table, you know, kind of image rather than this amazing tool that I hold in my hands right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the big, it's both a big problem, obviously, like it shouldn't be that way, but it's also a big opportunity. There are a lot of ways in which we can improve things from where they are, both technologically, but also culturally, and kind of thinking about how we approach sex as a culture.
Yeah. So Mina Life, that's the company's name. Well, how did you even get that name, Mina Life?
Yeah, well, we wanted to have something that was more about defining a lifestyle, less about just products. So we don't want to just be making, vibrators or other products. We want to have, in the long term, our vision is really to encompass more of a lifestyle, like being able to offer products that cover a broad range of topics. But the Minna aspect actually came from we wanted something that really it kind of summarized our position as a company. And there's a street in San Francisco called Minna Street that runs through a lot of the downtown part of the city and really connects different neighborhoods together. And so that was one of the ideas we had, was that it really is a collaborative kind of, if a street could be collaborative, it does that in a sense with the city of San Francisco. And so we really wanted to do that. And also we like the name. It just sounded good when it came out of the mouth.
I like it too. It's so different, and I love that. I love the reference to that street in San Francisco, because I do live near San Francisco, so I do know what street you're talking about. I'm like, oh, how cool, clever, And I have to say, I'm holding Ola, your first product. Tell them a little bit about Ola.
Sure, absolutely. So Ola was our first product. It was our first attempt really at changing things, at the way products are used and how people interact with vibrators. We started out really just trying to do something really simple that could make a big difference in the industry. And so what we realized was that almost every product out there is controlled by a series of buttons where you have to change between settings and change between intensity levels. And it's really not very intuitive, nor is it very conducive to being used during sex. Because the last thing you want to do while you're actually using a vibrator is to think about pushing buttons and change both your mood, but also change the settings manually.
And don't forget the battery running out too.
Right, exactly, yeah. So, but we do have a pretty substantial battery inside that's rechargeable.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ola is based entirely upon squeezing. We realized that your ability of your brain to control. So yeah.
When you're in the arousal mode, you're not good for much. That's
right,
what
exactly.
You're saying.
There are certain actions with your body, particularly with your hands and other let's focus on that.
Great.
Right. It's like you don't have to think about doing it. It's sort of a natural, intuitive response of when you want more vibration, you squeeze harder.
Yeah.
And so it's something that you can do sort of subconsciously while having sex, and it's not something that will distract you from the moment.
That's so interesting. I mean, just even that, and my brain is having so much fun with just that thought, like when we're in that arousal state, we're not good for much. So like to maneuver a little button or to maneuver, all the mechanical stuff is so hard, but really we are just good for push or pull or grip harder or less. That's it, right? And that's like the act of sex right there.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the fundamental idea with Ola, which we've then applied to our second product as well, creating again a squeezable product. But I guess focusing on Ola, it's largely intended for internal use, like for G-spot stimulation, but also works great. A lot of people really enjoy using it externally for clitoral stimulation as well. So it's really, I think, a pretty versatile product that a lot of people have really enjoyed.
So John had so graciously sent me the Ola product, their first product, the vibrator, and I have to tell you, I have not tried it for female ejaculation because I didn't know. So I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. I'm gonna have to go back in and do some more research.
Sounds terrible.
I'm more using it as a clitoral stimulation, but I get it now what you're saying. So on both ends, huh, John?
Yeah. So the shape of it is sort of an S curve shape in general, with one end being the control where the squeezable portion is, and the majority of the vibrations are in the other end. So in the the end that's sort of away from the squeezing part. So that was what we intended to be used internally. But actually, a lot of people have told us that they really like basically inverting that and inserting the end that is squeezable, so that when you apply pressure to yourself internally, you actually control the vibration through the contact pressure that you apply.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Like, even though I haven't done it personally, but I feel like I could do it right now. No, but I was thinking that's how my intuition would have gone too. Just like holding it like a spoon, like the soft end is the end that goes into my vagina, and then hitting and it being soft going up against that part. Oh God, my brain is going dead. What is that part called? That's part of the prostate of the woman up there, where the G-spot is. Mm-hmm. So that's very intriguing. So awesome. And I have to say, the coating or whatever that you use on the outside, it's so luscious, so much fun to touch and feel, and I don't want to put it down. So that's like a kudo on that one.
Yeah, thank you. It's all medical grade silicone, so it's just 100% silicone, and we've worked hard to create a certain texture on the outside from that. So the material, a big part of our philosophy is not just on innovation in engineering for function, but also to make sure that we're using the best possible materials for quality purposes, but also for safety.
I have to acknowledge you for that, because that is my biggest number one beef about sex toys out there on the market, is that they're cheaply made, they usually break or smell awful, and they're hugely expensive. And it's just like, dude, couldn't you just make something of quality for us? I'm willing to pay the price, but it's not quality product. So that's what I really love about this, is that it's high quality, it's elegant, the packaging is beautiful, and it just makes me want to play with it.
Yeah, that's the idea. Hopefully, I think hopefully there will be changes in the future in general with the industry. I think it's already happening, where a lot of companies recognize that consumers and just people want better products that are higher quality and aren't willing to tolerate the really poor materials anymore. And so there are shifts happening where there are forums and there are blogs and people are talking about this more and more. And so it's forcing the poor quality manufacturers to really make a change so they don't see their sales go down.
That's so super.
And something that can actually be controlled by the vagina itself. Finally.
That is the voice of my friend Stephen Schaumburg. I haven't introduced him to you guys yet, but Stephen is calling in from Boulder, Colorado, and I invited him on this conversation because Stephen, he is a master in BDSM, and he plays with a lot of toys, and he uses a lot of toys to please women. So I'm like, woo! I'm sure you have a lot to say about this topic, sex toys and technology. And that's a great point, Stephen. Go ahead.
Yes. I just think it's great that a vagina can actually do the controlling for whatever part it's going to go, rather than must be done precisely with hands.
Right, and I think with Ola, it's still largely, it's at least designed for squeezing with your hand. But yeah, if you use the product internally in the way we just described, then yeah, you are controlling it based on pressure through the vagina.
That's so interesting. So tell me a bit more about what's it like to be in the sex toys industry.
Well, it's great. I mean, I think that there are a lot of any industry is going to have pros and cons. I think, right? There are going to be good things and bad things. We've been very overwhelmed, I think, on average, with the positivity, both from the people, but also, from now that we're in the industry, looking deeper into the industry, there's a lot of really exciting things happening. And I think that at the outset, we really didn't know what to expect. We came into this kind of blind, really. Like we knew this was an exciting opportunity or an exciting area to be designing, but we didn't really know too much about what to expect. And overall, it's been really great.
That's awesome. So, like, give us. I imagine when I do work on sex, life, and consciousness and do radio shows and or planning on a topic with my guests or my collaborators, we have a lot of fun and a lot of giggling, a lot of laughing, and it's like, yeah, of course we want to talk about that. That'd be so hot, And so I wonder what a meeting is like in your organization, building things that pleasure people, and do you get to like use it on each other, and or are you guys pretty formal and let's talk business here?
Yeah, I'd say that at the end of the day, we are running a business, and we have to make sure that that everything lines up at the end of the day as far as the numbers go. And so there's a lot of there's a lot of time spent in, like any other business, you're going to be looking at your finances, you're going to be looking at logistics and stuff. So it's very easy to make it not sexual at all, right? Because it just feels like any other type of thing you're making and selling. But then at the other side of that, of course, it is inherently personal and sexual. And so, yeah, we do a lot of testing, a lot of experimentation with prototypes and products.
Testing.
Yeah, user testing. And which actually brings up another topic we can discuss in a minute about the difficulties of doing good user testing in this market. It's really hard to do proper user testing because there's so many personal aspects to it.
Tell us about that.
Okay, I guess we can talk about that now. Like traditionally, like if this were another product, like let's say we were designing a pair of scissors or something, right? Or I don't know, a watch or something. We would make prototypes, and then we would give them to people and watch them use them, and they would interact with them for a while, and maybe we'd videotape the whole thing, and we'd basically watch for places where they, even subconsciously, are making some action or some decision that doesn't make sense. You look for those disconnects in like what they're doing and what they could be doing. And so you find these gaps in things where then you design to solve that problem. You find a need, and then you solve the problem with design. That really relies on observation as a fundamental principle, because you can't trust somebody to tell you their opinion about something after the fact, because they miss those disconnects, because subconsciously they just gloss right over it, and then they don't realize that there was a problem.
Yeah, and there's so many filters that we have. You know, yeah. Exactly.
So it's really hard for us to observe ourselves from the outside, unless you're using video, of course, or other, having people watching. And so inherently in this space, it's difficult to do that with regular people. I mean, you're sure you could potentially work with like professional, like actors doing.
We'll do it. May will do it.
Right. Well, but the problem, right? That's fine, except that then you're targeting one very specific user group, which are probably like expert users or people who are more comfortable with that. Like we're even trying to target, or target's not the right word. We're trying to make sure that we're addressing the market all the way across to people who've never used vibrators before. So how do you design and test products for those people when it's sort of outside the realm of possibility to do proper, like full proper user.
They want it. They want it. I mean, I'm sure there must be a way to find out.
Oh, honey, there's only one word: party. Just put on a party, and this is, and have the toys sitting out. Well, I'm sure you've done this, right? I mean, I could just see doing a lovely party with the toys here, and just invite people to play. And I know it's awkward in the beginning, but oh my gosh, it's going to be the hottest party you've thrown. And then anytime you throw a party, people will be like clamoring to come in.
Yeah, no, that's good suggestions.
Have you done a party?
Yeah, we've had parties. Not exactly that variety, but we've certainly been very open with people about sharing their experiences with us.
Yeah. So wait, what's your party like? Like I mean like a sex party?
No, we haven't done a sex party.
Well, but see that I think that speaks to this line thing that I'm feeling in here. You know, it's like when I could just imagine. So, how what do I want to say here? Like I get doing these shows. There's a line there that I'm always invited to explore and choose which side of the line I stand on. And that, the line that I'm talking about is like, you know, I'm talking about sex so freely and openly. It invites me to then be sexual and be sexually expressive and like go all the way over there, you know. And yet at the same time, like most of my circles don't live that way. Most of my circles live in a very traditional conventional way of structure. You know, we hide our sex, we don't talk about it, we don't display it, we don't have sex parties. I don't go to sex parties anymore, that kind of stuff. So there's a push and pull there for me that I experienced, and I wonder what you experienced there. You know, like you're doing a sex toy thing, you know, so it would make sense to do a sex party and have people get naked and have sex and play with this so that you can observe and play, right? But that may not be the culture of your company. I don't know. So, like, where are you with that line of sexual freedom and adventure?
I'd say that, you know, we, at least up until now, we haven't really taken it upon ourselves to be the driving force behind that. I would say that we would encourage other people, like, you know, if you wanted to organize a party and focus with our products, that would be great. I just think that from where we stand right now, that's not our, like, that's not part of our vision. For us to be like host of that, it would be, you know, ideally facilitating that or promoting it, because I think it's a great idea. I think, you know, for some people that might be what they like. I think for a lot of people, there is still sex is still a very, very personal thing. And so it's not about the publicity. It's not about the public party component. It's more about the private party component, or maybe between them and themselves, or them and their partner. And so we're trying to
somehow.
Pardon me?
We sure hope they find out about these things somehow. It's cool.
Right. So I mean, we're trying to encourage people to do the experimentation, but to do it in a setting that they're comfortable with. And for you, that might be a larger group setting. For some people, it might not be. It might just be by themselves. And for many people, it might be with their partner. I think getting to that point of engaging with your partner with a product is challenging for a lot of people. I think that is a barrier in and of itself. So we're trying from that barrier first before we take on like a general public setting. So we got to take baby steps.
Go ahead, Steve.
Finally, the average person through the door at an adult establishment anymore is a woman. It took long enough. I recall finally it was getting to about 40% women and 60% men when I worked at one maybe 20 years ago. But now it's the other way. So when women like it, everybody will like it.
Well, that's true, isn't it? Well, I just flashed back with the event that John and I were just at on Friday at Fillmore 510 in Oakland. There were more women there than men were, right, John?
Yes, absolutely.
I was shocked. Now that you said that, I'm like, that's right. There were a lot more women there. So I think we're right on that cusp, that changing time. I think there's us women, like me included. I have not always been like this. I mean, 7 years ago, I was just as frigid as the next person, or more than the next person. I was very contained. I had one sexual partner all my life, and you know, I was a mom, an executive coach, and all this great thing that was happening for me. And I would never touch a dildo. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'm like, I didn't have a toy. But I'm not like that anymore. But like my sex has woken me up, and she wanted out, and she wanted me to play and explore and find more freedom around this. So now I'm much more comfortable around this, and I see that in other women too. And what you're saying, John, is so real and so so tender to me because it's right at that curve. It's like yeah, how do you create a product and how do you test it on the market where the market is shifting and changing? There's this pool to have lots of adventure and wild thing and chaos and mayhem in a wonderful way. And then there's still so much of us, like the majority of us are still very, I don't know, closeted or constrained or proper or personal or, whatever word that is for us, from all the way from shame to just, this is just personal. I don't talk about it. I don't share it and all that stuff. And how do you get good data so that you can keep refining your product?
Right. Yeah, that is a constant challenge. I mean, we get a lot of feedback from our customers when possible. Like, we definitely ask everyone and anyone who has an opinion about what we're doing to tell us so that we can improve future products during our development, because we're constantly working on new projects here. We have a few in the pipeline right now.
Are you allowed to say?
Pardon me?
Are you allowed to say what you're working on?
Well, the big one right now that is public is Limon is our second product.
Yep.
And it is a smaller product that's meant really for external clitoral stimulation, but it's really designed to be used. Sorry?
Yeah.
He was having an excitement.
And it's really meant to be used as a couple. So the design of it is such that it's very ergonomic in your hand and is squeezable in a sort of like a handheld
handheld device.
Yeah, it's called Limon, and it's shaped like a lemon.
Yeah.
And so when you squeeze it, the vibration is focused at the tip of the lemon, and it's really ideal for couples to explore each other's bodies with the product, because you're so close to the vibration, and it's controlled through your squeezing hand right in the same spot as the vibration is being delivered. So as your partner adapts or adjusts to the intensity, you can tease them, and you can apply more or less vibration at any time.
Now, how did you come up with the ideas? Like, do you remember, that moment when the idea came and go, it would be great if we have this?
Yeah, I think I guess a little more history about us is when we started, we really had a schedule, kind of timeline, deadline that we were shooting for, which was the annual A&E trade show in Vegas in January, the AVN show, and that was early January, and so I think it was around August to September that we decided, like, let's build some prototypes and go to the trade show and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we had no idea, like, whether or not we were going to pursue this. We just knew that we wanted to try something, wanted to try some product ideas and show the world and see what the world said, and then make a decision from that. And so we sat down and really focused on what is the simplest thing that we can make that can both really push the line of innovation, but also be possible in like 3 months to get to the trade show by that time.
Yeah.
And so we thought a lot about different aspects, and one of the big ones was control. How can you innovate on controlling products, whether it's with buttons or squeezing or with, there are a lot of companies now doing like long distance wireless interactivity stuff through smartphones and other platforms, which is exciting as well. So, and that was on the table as well, but we just, in the time frame at the time, 4 years ago, we were thinking, well, let's focus on something that's achievable but still groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And the squeeze interface really came to us through we actually have been doing some work in other areas with pressure control, pressure sensing and pressure control. And so we had kind of a head start on that. So that kind of was a natural try. And then we built these prototypes.
What other industry was using like a squeeze thing besides this?
Well, it wasn't for control in any way, but we were doing a number of other areas. We all had personal experience doing some pressure sensing technologies in the past through other product design and other areas where.
What areas? I mean, besides sexual, what other areas?
One particularly that comes to mind was we had previously worked on a project that it's like the least sexual thing you can think of. But so basically, there was a lawsuit. There was a litigation regarding rubber gloves. Like this, there was one company that was suing another for some sort of patent infringement regarding rubber gloves, and we were hired to. This was before Minna. On other jobs. We had been hired to develop a machine that would measure the compression of, like, how much pressure those gloves were applying to your skin. In different parts.
Wow.
That was like the foundation of the lawsuit, was that, one company had infringed another's patent because of the way in which they were compressing the skin in some way. And so that was like a totally unrelated thing, but then from that and a number of other areas where, pressure sensing is like one of the fundamental ways in which you're
and then it came into the toys.
Yeah, so we had the background from that, and we decided to they're totally different sensors that we're using between Minna and that particular project.
Right.
But the fundamental idea of detecting pressure was something we were familiar with.
And how did you go from being such a straight-laced engineer like that to sex toys?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It just was something that we thought was a really exciting opportunity, and we had all personally had experiences between our group, which is all engineers, our founding team, which we've worked with a lot of people since then who offer other perspectives. But we had all had varying levels of frustration with sex toys in our own lives before that. And as an engineer, it's like your job always, no matter what you're doing, you're always looking for ways to improve the world around you.
Yeah.
Engineers rule. I've been saying that for a long time.
Well, John, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually a mechanical engineer at
Right.
Heart,
You mentioned that. Yeah.
So this thrills me to no end.
Yeah, you're always looking for things, right? Whether it's you're on a train or you're cooking or you're whatever.
Right.
You're always
every
thinking.
restaurant that I go to, if I sit down, I would be undoing the salt and pepper shaker or whatever on the table to see how it works and how we can just do it better. That's what I used to find myself doing as a young person, so I'm laughing.
And I think the big takeaway for us was that if you apply that same exercise to, let's say, sex toys circa like 2000 or before, it was a pretty poor state of affairs there. Like it was pretty much wide open territory for innovation. Like you could pretty much do anything, and it would be better than most of what was available.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna reveal something right now. As you're talking, I'm playing with the Minna Ola toy, and I'm really slowing it down and just playing with the control, and it is really cool. I want to capture this raw, unsolicited feedback right here, because I remember I've had other vibrator recommended to me, and I would get so irritated with the control. Like it's either low or high speed. It doesn't just gradually goes up. And here I'm having this thing between my legs, and I'm just gently squeezing it and then letting go and squeezing it and letting go, and it just it's so responsive. It's so nice.
Yeah, that's a big part of what we're trying to do. Particularly at the lower speeds, like if you squeeze very, very softly, just so you start to feel a little rumble.
Yeah, that's what I have right now.
Yeah. So the way we designed the way we came up with the particular type of motor and also the control squeezing was to be able to deliver that really low speed but still strong vibration, and not like that really high speed kind of buzzy vibration that a lot of products have. That's almost like numbing rather than pleasing. Right.
And I've had another toy that was recommended to use for female ejaculation to stimulate myself, and I almost threw that thing across the room because here my hands are slippery with lube, right? And it's a wet environment. It's not a dry environment. So I'm trying to turn this thing to turn it higher or lower. And when it's high, it's too high. When it's low, it's too low. And this low rumbling thing that you're talking about is really super cool. It's like it's low and it can be barely there, and it could be higher and really higher, and then it's really nice, John.
Yeah, it's a full range. That's really the goal, is to a lot of people want very, very strong vibration, which we give them. Like, you can do that with Ola. You just have to squeeze harder.
Right.
But some people want really soft vibration, especially if you're maybe using it for foreplay, or if you're with a partner and trying to kind of build the moment. You know, you're not just going all in right from the start.
Right.
You're trying to, you know, develop the mood. So that's really part of the design, is having the full range and at your own control.
Well, let me add some more highlight to that, because I'm like having light bulbs going off right now, because I'm an all-in gal, you know. My poor body just gets subjected to all-in stuff, and it's really shocking. And now I'm learning to, like, slowing myself down and really do the gentle stuff. And it really is so nice, this gentle. It's almost like, in the past, I would force myself to get aroused. But now I'm like allowing the arousal to come at its own speed. And with this Minna toy, this Ola toy, is really conducive to that. It's very gentle. And it's an invitation rather than an intrusion.
Yeah, excellent. I completely agree.
Like my old favorite toy was the Hitachi, you know, magic wand that has that big white ball right there. And if you go to anyone who play sexually and are open sexually, they all own one of those. And I used to own one of those until I blew it up in London. And, you know, but it really is hard and heavy, and it completely creates numbing out of my clitoris, you know. So that's why I stopped playing with vibrators, because I didn't want to be numb. But this one, I could really see the invitation, the gentleness, and the arousal. I can feel my arousal coming on rather than my. Yeah,
you're not forcing it.
Yeah.
To start. Yeah, and actually, one other area we haven't even addressed yet is with Ola is the memory function as well, which is really exciting. So
memory.
You can. Yeah, memory, exactly. So you can use it, as we've been talking about. You can use it what we call free play mode, where you just squeeze it and it vibrates in response. So the harder you squeeze, the harder it vibrates. If you stop squeezing, it will stop vibrating.
Right.
The second way to use it is with we call like loop mode or memory mode, where you can create a pattern arbitrarily by squeezing. You know, as you're using it, you can be squeezing, and then if you stop squeezing, it will repeat the pattern that you just played over and over and over again. So you create your own patterns and then store those on the product as you're using it.
You know, and again, it's one of those things where I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, that's a great idea, but I don't really get how powerful it is until I'm trying it, and it's really cool because you don't have to remember anymore what you did, and then you can just let go, and it's kind of like flying free or something.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people come to us and say, you know, I want to be able to record like a whole bunch of patterns, and I want to be able to, you know, have it do all these different things. But our response to them is that you can do that. You just need to create it yourself. So the idea that every time you use the product is the same, we think is really limiting.
Yeah.
Instead, you treat every time you use it as a different opportunity or a different moment, and create the pattern that you want at that time for that scenario or that setting. Because you are creative. Everyone's creative enough to use their hand to squeeze and create a pattern that feels good, rather than forcing a pattern upon yourself that you maybe used last time or that was pre-programmed into the product ahead of time.
And it's really cool because once you just do it and then you just let go and the loop starts. You don't have to do anything else to it.
Exactly, yeah. It automatically, I don't want to get too technical with it, but it's either, this is the risk, because, you know, it's a super simple thing to use, but to describe it in words is sometimes, like, it sounds overly technical. But if you do a short pattern, let's say you do like squeeze, 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 and then like some sort of like woo, right? Then as soon as you let go, it takes that pattern and loops it. Whatever you from start to finish, it loops that back over again. If you're using it for a longer period of time, it only takes the last 10 seconds of your vibration. But if you do a pattern that's only 2 seconds long, it's not gonna be 2 seconds plus 8 seconds of silence. It's gonna be just the 2-second pattern over and over and over. So it's smart enough to know what was a hard stop on your part and what was just kind of a low speed setting.
This is super fun, John. Thank you so much for this, and thanks for playing in this realm and bringing smartness to these toys and to us, you know. And I have to tell you, the other things that I've been getting reaction on this toys, and whenever I said a smart sex toys, everyone says
wireless.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's a really interesting.
My phone yet?
Right. And yes, I mean that's certainly possible. It's something that we haven't done yet. Very deliberately. It's definitely been it's easy to do. But we still are trying to figure out, and I think a lot of people are trying to figure this out, how is that actually used? And it's very
I'll tell you exactly what I want.
Okay.
See what you think. What I really want, and I've been dreaming about this with every lover that I've ever had, and it's so interesting. It's like we want something that is soft yet firm that we can put inside the vagina, you know, and that when you turn it on, it actually moves. It doesn't just vibrate, but it has an oscillation kind of movement. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that the woman can feel the movement inside that, and then we want the control of it is outside of it, like our boyfriends to have it,
sure,
our girlfriends to have it, you know, so that, and it would be super cool if you could even have that, not just in 100-meter distance, but like in you know, like I'm down at the grocery store and my honey turns it on and wakes me up and going, I got you, baby, you know.
Right, yeah. No, that's you nailed it. I mean, that's pretty much the direction that a lot of companies are going right now, where they're making interactive wireless devices that can communicate with your smartphone or can communicate over the internet. And that's again not something that we see as difficult. It's just defining the usage of that, and how do you make a product like that seamless and more beneficial than it is awkward to use. You know, like it's a challenging problem. I think it's bigger than just a technical challenge. It's figuring out the right interface.
It's smaller than a bread box, right?
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. The technical side is not that difficult compared to all the other stuff that we're doing. The hard part is figuring out how to make it seamless and how to make it just the user experience perfect. Because if it's not right there, then people won't use it.
Yeah, because I bought one of those toys made in China for $60. It was expensive, and it was like a little egg that you put inside, and then there's a control on the outside. But it was so awkward, and this thing was like it screw open, and so you know germs and stuff. And I mean, it just and the vibration was so weak that you could hardly feel it, and then the control was sloppy. So sometimes you turn it on, it comes on, another time it doesn't. I was so pissed that, you know, wasting that kind of money on that, and it just seems so doable nowadays. So there's a market out there, John.
There is, I know, and it's exciting. It's honestly, it's our the next product we're working on beyond Limon is touches on some of those same topics. So our big challenge, I think, and the challenge for other companies in this space is how to create something that is technologically advanced, that solves some problem, but does so in a way that makes it easier to use rather than more cumbersome.
Right.
Like technology should solve a problem by making it easier rather than more difficult to use.
Yeah, and honor us with good material rather than cheap silicone stuff that smells terrible and is bad for our body. Like, we don't want to put crap in our body anymore. You know, we want it to be really nice and healthy and fun to play with.
Yeah, completely. I wholeheartedly agree.
Oh, this is so much fun. Thank you so much for being here today. So what, let's see, we have some goodies for the audience as they're, for my listeners. So would you like to tell them about that?
Sure. Yeah, so we're doing a promotion on our, through our website for, it's 10% off for listeners of this program. So if you go to minnalife.com, so it's MINNALIFE.com, you can shop there for Ola, and we also sell a few other items like lubricant and toy cleaner and other things that you might want to add. There's a 10% off for that. As you get through the ordering process, there'll be a spot you can enter the promo code, and it's going to be SLC for Sex, Lies, and Consciousness.
Yay! That is super. That's so special. Thank you so much for making that special for our audience out there. And I'm recommending this for my friends, and I'm going to go inside with this thing and play with it and see how it works as an ejaculator toy too. That's so super fun. A new toy. It's like Christmas in July.
And also, while you're on the site, you can check out our new product. Is called Limon, as I mentioned earlier. So there's some little information there about it. We actually just did a crowdfunding campaign for that product that ended, and we expect to have that on sale by November.
Awesome. Congratulations, John.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add, Stephen?
No, just that, the name you chose, I think, is beautiful. That's such a wonderfully set up street. A lot of beautiful new things arise from there.
Yeah. Minna's a cool place. Thank you.
Yep. Anyway, okay, let's see. Oh, next week, I want to tell you guys about my upcoming show next week. Next week, I am talking with Dr. Robert. And hopefully Dr. Patty too, but for sure Dr. Robert. And we are talking about his work, Sex Coach U. This is the only coaching school that train people to become a sex coach. And I talked to Dr. Robert, and he's such an interesting man. He's an expert from BDSM all the way to polyamory and then working with people around sexual dysfunctions and pathology and all that stuff. So the range is they cover the full range, and he's been sharing with me some stuff that he's learning as he bring his work out in the world. Like, did you know that China and Poland are the two major countries that are bringing him Sex Coach U over to their country to teach them around sex and especially around polyamorous relationships? I am fascinated by that. I'm like, why, Dr. Robert? Why are they interested in polyamorous relationships? And China has a different reason, and Poland has a different reason. One of them is about saving the world, creating peace, and the other one is about dominating the world. So you have to listen and find out what the heck is going on. This is super cool. So to me, what I'm seeing in Sex, Lies, and Consciousness, doing this work and talking with people around sex around the world, is that we have sexuality is changing. Our relationship to sex is changing. Our expression around sex is changing. Who we are as sexual being also is changing, and relationships are changing. So I'm seeing more and more conversations around new form of relationship, new toys to play with, new philosophy coming in, and so I'm excited to continue the conversation and broadcast it out there. That's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Stephen, for joining us. And John, good luck with Minna Life, and good luck with Ola and Limon and whatever else that you create. And if you want, me to host a sex party to do a testing on your product, I'd be happy to stand up and do that and see what happens.
Okay, thank you, and thanks
super fun.
Thanks for inviting me to be on the program. It was
you
fun.
bet. Have a wonderful week, everyone.